Hello, Venerable. Can you please tell me your first memory of meeting His Holiness Dalai Lama and how you felt about it?
In 1979, I went up to Dharamsala, and I was a young photographer doing a series of photographs of holy men. And I was using this big wooden view camera where you get under the black cloth and you put the slide of film in. And I requested permission to photograph His Holiness, and it was granted. And His Holiness's secretary, worried that my process would take a long time, had me set up before His Holiness's arrival. And it was during monsoon, so there was very little light, and these old cameras demand a lot of light. So I set up in His Holiness's office so that His Holiness could sit, and then suddenly His Holiness arrived. And he was totally down to earth, and he was clear, and there was no nonsense. He understood what this was, and he sat, and I said, it's going to be a 45-second exposure. May I request that Your Holiness not move? And we started the exposure, and then halfway through, His Holiness was at his desk, as I said, in a swivel chair. Halfway through the exposure, His Holiness turned. So I did another, and another. And finally, we both burst into laughter because each of these shots was not usable because His Holiness had moved. And I asked His Holiness if he would stand. Standing meant being farther from the source of light, and therefore a longer exposure, 1 minute. And His Holiness looked at the lens. I opened the shutter, and for 1 minute, His Holiness smiled into the lens. It was the most magnificent experience, and the photograph conveys all that His Holiness gave. So
Wonderful.
That was my first meeting with His Holiness.
That's a beautiful memory. Can you also, what do you think that His Holiness, how His Holiness as a spiritual leader is different from others? Like, he do have his own personality and...
Well, from my point of view, as a young child brought up in the Christian tradition, a holy person was viewed as someone ethereal, someone humble and distant from reality, sort of in a mystical cloud of love and compassion, but not... The extraordinary quality of His Holiness is that his spiritual presence is practical. And his message is the basis of spiritual practice is to help others. The basis of spiritual practice is to work towards refraining from indulging our selfish, self-centered tendencies. It's such a simple message, and it is so profound. And I think that's quite unique among the spiritual masters of our time. I mean, of course, within the Buddhist tradition, you will find that that is a common message. But in terms of the world leaders, spiritual leaders, I think that His Holiness's down-to-earth, practical message of compassion and of refraining from self-cherishing is unique.
All right, thanks. So as His Holiness is, aging, right? How do you see his legacy being continued even after him?
Well, I think that it becomes the responsibility of us to implement what he has taught us. And no one continues forever. And a teacher is teaching students to practice. And I feel that, in a sense, the manifestation of age that His Holiness is demonstrating is also a way of pushing us to really assume responsibility for continuing, for maintaining our practices.
All right, that's wonderful. Also, can you speak a little bit about the event? Like, how do you think that IBC has organized this event? How it is on his 90th birthday?
I have complimented Abhijit Halder for I've come to all the events since the beginning of the IBC, and there is an atmosphere of something special this time. And yes, we can say that it is His Holiness's blessing, but I think that maybe the IBC is maturing and actually coming into its own in a wonderful way. And I hope that it will continue, and I hope that if the IBC wishes to take His Holiness's message and really promote, it doesn't have to be a Buddhist thing as opposed to a Hindu or a Christian or anything else. It can be a secular message of working to become a better person, serving society, and refraining from the very, very common trait of selfishness and self-centeredness.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience. Thank you.